Ladies and gentlemen, still with us, 12 plus hours strong here on the North American Season Qualifier stream. Riven Jat bringing you the last elimination matchup of the day in Group 4. We have Azure Gaming versus Cloud9. Jat, we've seen a lot of the minute 40 invades coming in, but some rather different actions after that. But we'll see what these guys have to do. These invades have been quite interesting.
This is the first time Azure Gaming is on the blue side. The previous two matches, they were up with the red to get the deep ward in. And it looks like they're not going to be doing a 5-man invade, if I had to guess. They've kind of worked out for them early on in the games, but they weren't able to take them in for the rest of the victories. They actually ping, they expect a ward in their own Wraith Brush, and they're actually very cautious that Cloud9 could be in their own jungle. They're going in blind here.
Yeah, they've put a few wards in and completely backed off for that cautious play here. Nobody wants to give up a kill. They're actually walking right around on that ward. You see Riven kind of coming down, or just, no, she's not. I thought they were saying, yes, let's actually do this. They're going to wait it out. They still have quite a bit of time before the minions get out. Will they run? Where's Lulu going to go after this? Twitch is staying bottom, but it looks like they're leaving a lot of support to that mid.
But Cloud9 has a huge amount of information here since everyone went over that ward in the Wraith Brush. They're going to try to stop Nocturne during these Wraiths. They don't know he's here. If they get around on DJ Lambo, they could get a kill.
Oh, he is going to see him. They get the Q right into it, but they turn and see Olaf on the top side. It was just kind of a switch in eyesight there. They kind of went off.
They're going to push Nocturne over to his red buff, and I'd almost say that was a bit of impatience. If they would have waited for Nocturne to completely engage in on that wolf camp, they could have cornered him and at least forced him to burn flash. But considering the amount of surprise they had there, not even forcing Nocturne to get a flash, only taking the blue buff, and instead just making DJ Lambo do red, isn't a big win for Cloud9.
No, this is sometimes a regular start for Nocturne, so he could go for that early gank if required. He is going to have vision on him, though. No, he goes for golems. So knowing he started red, they're going to actually they're possibly going to realize this early gank. Lulu trying to make her way down through mid, so Twitch is going to have a bit of a tough time here in the early part.
Yeah, and I also got to point out, just one of the new things with Season 3, that was 6 wards that got placed at level 1. So much vision is going out right away.
Right.
Just completely takes it up, 3 on each side. Like, these guys really do not want to get caught off guard. It was one of the intended changes, though. Early jungle pressure was really destroying a lot of lanes, and they had to fix that up. But with that, you know, that's what happens. We've still seen some early invades. It's a lot of tactical moves there.
Yep, here's the steal, and the transfer now over to Corki in middle. A blue buff right off the bat is not going to spell good things for Orianna.
And 10-8, that was great because they stole the blue buff and gave their own blue buff away. Niantanso level 3 to Shouster's level 2, and normally Corki's constrained by that Phosphorus Bar mana cost. Not gonna be the case anymore.
Yeah, that burst damage becomes so much more effective for him, and that is going to hurt. Shouster's probably forced to not just go QWQ. He takes the shield at 3. We'll see him just trying to stay in his lane. Bistanzo trying to give a little bit of harass to DJ Lambo.
He really wanted to get that Wraith Brush, and you could see that DJ Lambo was very smart to make sure he spiked down all of the Wraiths at once so Phosphorus Bomb couldn't steal it.
All right, they have the ping on high on 9. We'll have to see if Lambo chooses to make a move here. They know that the jungler is top side. The gank bottom is pushed. The lane gank, no, the red ward is going to be in the bush, so they won't go for that. He might. They don't know it.
Yeah, Demon Lull and Bloodwater again showing pretty good strength against Cloud9's bot lane here. Even though it's early, 20-15 is already a bit of an advantage. So for once, an Azure game doesn't have the lane swap. I'm really surprised too, because going up 1v1 against Driven is usually pretty dangerous.
And this looks quite painful for Shousters here. You can see him almost out of mana trying to farm with Dissonance, and it's not working out for him. Looks like Olaf had to back in that top lane, and Mumu goes, wastes a bit of time up there, but High will enter back. I think he only gets himself some wards and picks up actually a Doran shield for a little health regen and armor.
So how is Olaf winning this lane against Chizuki? I don't think there's been too many ganks, but here the pressure goes on to Wild Turtle. He's got to stealth away. He disappeared at the right time.
Wild Turtle could get hit again. He turns around. The exhaust goes down. Demon makes it out alive. First blood coming out for Demon.
That was a lapse in judgment for Wild Turtle. He went a little bit crazy because he'd stealthed away. He was safe. Demon was not going to finish him off. Then he realized his support was caught out as well, decided to re-reveal himself, gave away first blood.
I think he might have cleansed before the exhaust as well, because it looks like it went off fast. But nonetheless, that fight happened. That fight is over. We only have a 700 gold lead there, so not too much going on after that. It's not really going to be definitive anywhere, but it does mean that that bottom lane not having its support in the beginning had an effect there.
It's pretty much very true, and if they are able, it's a good point, Riv. Well said. Pretty much very true. If they're able, you know, if Azure is able to beat Cloud9 here, it would be huge. I have to say, like, Cloud9 or Orbit or X-Quantic is a really powerful team online normally. Like, they're seen as one of the top teams in North America. If they get knocked out in the group stage, it would be the upset of the tournament thus far.
Oh, here he comes. High L9 was just up top for the gank, but he's going to be here again. The wards, or not the wards, rather, the minions aren't there to show him, but he is going to be backing off. He says, I'm a little too far here. Bottom lane is pushed up quite far. Are they coming back? They are. Just got a few buys. Dorans.
Oh, and Banish Toss up top. We got to see it.
It looks like they are going to be going in on it. Nothing here. A lot of damage. Stays there with 200 HP in the undertow to trade back some damage.
Oh man, got a little excited there. I thought for sure nothing here was going to go down, but High ran out of mana. He wasn't able to follow up his Banish Toss with a Tantrum. Even then, though, they're going to get a heap of damage onto this turret as DJ Lambo comes up to try to support.
Yeah, High trying to just force these minions out. They're trying to get damage onto this turret. Deny XP. Here comes the teleport in. They get the fear down onto High. Can the undertow hit? And it took him a little to get the grasp onto Olaf. He couldn't throw it away.
You're not going to believe it, but nothing here forgot to buy when he teleported back to base.
Oh my gosh, didn't have time. Trying to get back in for the kill here. Demon Low looking to grab one onto Twitch. He may go down. Wild Turtle very hurt. One last auto attack. Bloodwater picks it up. The double kill coming up here. Bloodwater, one more auto attack, and he finds it.
Nunu slapped him to death twice. Double kill. That bottom lane for them, Demon All and Bloodwater, is crushing. In all 3 games, they have been completely unstoppable. That is an amazing amount of synergy picked up in just a couple of days for those guys.
Yeah, I don't know how they're doing it. We saw, what was it, the first game? Ezreal, 18-something?
18-0 with a pentakill.
18-0 with a pentakill.
Not 0. That was like 3.
Okay, 18-3.
I don't know why I said that.
Good. It
sounded more impressive.
You were having a little dream. So Beastanso in mid here. Let's look at this, 68 to 51. That's a pretty good gold lead he's got going on. He's going to be looking at 17 minions now as he just grabbed one. But that for him is just meaning, you're right, he's pushing that lane down. He's keeping Ahri under the turret, Orianna under the turret, and she doesn't have the mana to continue.
It's supposed to be the counter matchup, and thus far, looks like he's doing pretty well. I wouldn't say he's really hard countering him, though.
Right.
Considering you got the early blue buff, that is, Beast Hanzo got it, 73 to 58 against Orianna. Nothing amazing. It's good that you have 2 farmed AD carries. Not all AD carries are capable of going mid, so it is good in the sense that they are getting a farmed AD carry. Since Wild Turtle's getting shut down on Twitch, at least they'll have one, but not the most impressive matchup, and it's definitely not making up for the fact that Wild Turtle is getting beaten so badly by Demon Loam and Bloodwater.
And this is going to be tough coming in for High. We look at his items, and you're trying to gank a Demon Lol, Bloodwater down bottom, that Nunu MF. They have Blood Boil. You have Nocturne that can speed up. You have Orianna that can speed up, and Olaf that can slow. He doesn't have boots yet, so his ganks are going to be quite lackluster here, and they need to start making moves. They're down by 1,000 gold.
Yeah, even though they invaded to steal the blue buff, the fact that High gave away his own blue buff does set you a little bit behind the cliff.
Yuzuki, that's a pretty fair trade there.
High spending a lot of time thinking about going bottom, but he's already just decided to back off. Maybe thinks that gank would be a disaster in bottom lane. And that 3-0 start, this is reminiscent of Azure's last game against Martin. They started 6-0 and then weren't able to finish it out.
Top lane going strong. Ragnarok goes out for nothing here. Does he decide to stay onto Yuzuki? Yuzuki's ultimate is down. A little reckless swing brings him down to 100 health, but the minion damage forces him out, Jat.
So close. Yuzuki with a sliver flashes into the brush, makes sure nothing here has to follow him out. And that 1v1 matchup is just a brawl fest up top, 62 to 59. Yeah. Those guys are going at it, and it is close.
We can see just how much they're trading in damage. Look at the items. You know, Riven only had that sword and a Doran's, and she was trading with a double cloth, boots, Doran's, Olaf. So this could get bad as Riven comes back to lane. As you said, he didn't buy that first time, so he had to go back and get it the second time.
Yeah, nothing here.
Oh, the ultimate Wild Turtle very low on mana. He does not have his flash, but he does have cleanse, and that will be enough. They are, however, going to go on Lemon Nation, not using Wild Growth. It was up, but he flashed and lost that, or exhausted rather, sorry.
Yeah, and Nunu's on a killing spree. Here comes
Oh, he dodges the missile because of the command shockwave. Misses another one, and the kill comes up for Shousters. An amazing shockwave from Oriana.
2 games in a row for Azure Gaming. They're up 6 kills to 0, and they're taking this dragon here. Unreal close action there. Beast Tonso thought for sure he was going to finish off those kills, but the gank and the dive, I mean, the only negative about this is 3 of the kills are on Bloodwater's Nunu, and not enough kills are on Demon Law, but slaps
like
are slapping a lot of kills out of...
Yeah, slapping everything. Willem and Nunu are going at it hard right now. Well, see, back to top lane, that brawl fest we were talking about, just each other in the face. They have a ping down onto Riven. Looking back at Nocturne, that was his ping, and his ultimate is down and should be when he gets there. So it looks like it's just going to be a regular basic Dustbringer gank. And if they decide to do anything, we'll make sure to look at that as Nocturne approaches that lane. 11 minutes in, chat, 4,000 gold lead. They were able to take Dragon. That last fight quite definitive. They're starting to grab this.
I mean, we heard Nian Tonso and Yuzuki talking. We had that awesome feature on them. It's like they haven't been together. They really want to win this and get a gaming house, but for now, it's going to temporarily be over if they lose this one. Yuzuki getting ganked up top.
And there it is. Nocturne just taking it slowly but surely. They get back to Yuzuki, who just flashed in the bush. The terror is on. He comes back to lane. Oh, he gets out with the dash, but finds himself once again in the death chamber.
Great gank there by DJ Lambo. Just Yuzuki went a little too far. Nothing here. Popped his ghost, and that was just the brute force lane gank from Nocturne. No red buff. No ult, and it's still got a kill. Now they're diving high.
Yeah, they are going to dive high.
Nah,
they're trading damage a little bit. It went out to Nocturne first. Wow, reckless swing. A third of Amumu's health. That is not what you want to see. He levels up and gets a little HP MP back. But it looks like they're forced both to back up here. Corki is roaming a little bit now. He is 110, so he's got some time to waste.
Yeah, you can see that nothing here is going with a maxed E Olaf build. A lot of times you'll see them split points between their Axe and their E. That depends if they're in a solo or a dual lane, as Beast Tonso goes down on a Shousters.
Shredding him with Gatling, the final missile. The shockwave actually cancels the minute he would have been sucked in.
They really needed that. The first team blood really arriving at 12 minutes and 20 seconds there for Beast Tonso. That's the counter lane he wants to go in. And you can see it's because of how easily he finishes him down. One of the big reasons it's a counter lane, so many Orianas go for that Athene's Unholy Grail, which is great against other mages. But the magic resist is completely useless against Corki.
Lambo taking some shots, dodges that one out. Looks like he will return to the jungle with slight vision, so he returns down to the left. He says, all right, I will take your wraiths. Very nice. Thank you very much. Looks like they're going to get some wards down bottom. Still a very aggressive lane between Demon Lol and Bloodwater, consistently pushed back to that turret. 104 CS to 80, Jeff.
And the big thing is just the gold because of the 3 deaths. It's 4,500 gold to 3,100 between Wild Turtle and Demon Law. And the support gold, actually, Bloodwater's got 300 more gold than Wild Turtle as well. If only he was building AD.
Oh, nothing here. Actually senses he does not. His Spidey sense going off for sure. He goes to grab the axe. It could be his death, though. The Ragnarok goes off. They have a good amount of burst damage to hit him with, but with that W on, he's going to get Spellfant back. It keeps him good and healthy.
And Yuzuki just didn't have his ultimate up. It must have been from an earlier gank. Hai didn't want to blow through his Amumu ultimate, but he might look to flash ult or just land bandage.
Beautiful job by Nothing here. He draws that in, and he may go down, but it's going to be Shousters and Lambo to clean this one up. Yuzuki's flash is still down from the previous 2 fights, and a third time going down possibly. Great ball movement by Oriana, and they cancel him in, finalizing the kill. A third one for Yuzuki. Bottom bullet time onto Wild Turtle, as he has to go invis and force back to the turret. The aggression in every lane.
Lemon Nation really saved Wild Turtle's life, polymorphing Demon Law during that bullet time. And the action continues. No, it doesn't. I think it's over. I'm sorry. They're chasing down bottom.
It will be. These guys are hungry. Cloud9 knows they need to make some plays, but that's where it gets scary. They do a lot of damage. We just saw Corki take out Oriana, but that's an easy way to get yourself tunnel vision and think you can 1v1 anyone. And
even though it started 6-0, going to 8-2 now with only a 3,000 gold advantage, it's got to be getting in Azure's head right now, the fact that they've been so close to, just been like 6-0 in the clinching game to make it out of the group twice. They got to be able to finish this one.
In all
it just
honesty,
has to happen.
It's been a game of fights. Every turret still stands on the map. Well, one
Except
turret
for that
rather.
one.
Except, yeah. Thanks, guys.
Blue buff being taken again by Beast Tonso on Corki. For those of you wondering, that is Nian Tonso.
Yes.
Formerly Nian as well. Used to play AD carry for Orbit, who is now same team that is named Cloud9. Both of these teams really expected to make it in. Marn, with the upsets, first online team making it in, making this group way more interesting, just because it means one of the teams that pre-qualified is going home today.
You know, Jet, this is quite interesting. Riven building that pen. We see Olaf building HP to mitigate.
That is not the best idea, in all honesty. Pen, it's a misconception. Health does not counter pen. The closer you get to 0, the more damage percentage they do to you. And that's, you know, health helps because it's still tank stats,
right? But
armor is just as good.
So he does have the 2 cloth. He actually went for Boots of Lucidity to get out those undertows and the Reckless Swings.
Really got to see now double buff onto Neontonso. They're trying to put all their cookies in the Corki basket right now because he's 173 farm. No one else on the team is at 100. All the gold for them is on Neontonso. He's 5,600. No one else on his team is above 4,100. Well, now with the turret, they very slightly are. Taking down the turret, he's their key to get back in this game.
Yeah, I don't know when the last time is, and no bad play to Wild Turtle, just Demon Lord Bloodwater going so hard that an AD by 16 minutes does not have over 100 CS. That is amazing aggression they've put on that lane.
They're completely shutting it down. That's one of the things about picking Twitch. He's very much all in, right? He can stealth in, but mainly it's an ambush. You get attack speed for that. If you're not using your stealth to engage, you're pretty much never trading with anybody. So since they fell behind in that lane against Misfortune and Nunu, he's been completely on his heels the entire time, and they're really punishing him for it.
Looks like he's going right for that Infinity Edge. He wants to get the burst down from his lane. He can stay behind a tanky Amumu. See what they do. Riven actually building for just that straight damage like we saw Mega Zero doing. This dragon to be grabbed up, 22:55 is going to be your dragon timer as it comes back up, and an Oracles will now help Azure Gaming start to control the map.
That is a early Oracles, but because Bloodwater has so many kills, they're really looking for the map control at this point. He's spending his gold to try to better his team's chances. Ruby Sightstone Oracles, Vision bot Nunu right there. Gotta push up mid. They took the bottom turret. They know that Wild Turtle is stuck bottom farming. Gonna look to push on this, but it's very hard to push against a blue buffed Corki. Let's see if they can make something happen.
And they're actually gonna go straight on him. There's the ultimate bullet time. They go in, Wild Growth onto him. It's just above in the scoreboard. I couldn't see his HP, but he gets out alive, and they're forced back on that one. But if it's gonna take that every time for the ultimate to be stopped, that's gonna be a tough fight for Cloud9.
Barely keeping Neontonso alive. Baiting out the Nocturne Outlaw in all honesty, and Lemon Nation saved him with the Wild Growth, but because of that, that means they're going to continue this push up top, or in the middle. 4 members still there. They might try to get on this push, but Amumu has his ultimate. Going to be tricky.
A great job here coming from nothing here, using that teleport to guard the turret down bottom, so the split push is to no avail coming in from Cloud9 now, and they really have to focus on saving this turret mid. It looks like they will get Azure to disperse, but Wild Turtle in a very bad spot. He goes in Viz. We can just see him running around. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? And he sees him. Will he be able to get there? Throws out the flask, and he's chased away.
It's a good thing nothing here decided to turn away at that moment because Neontonso was going to be coming down there for the gank. Now we shall see how Azure closes because the 6-0 advantage really hasn't been capitalized on whatsoever. It's moved to 8-2. The gold is again sneaking away from them. They have to find a way to close. Yuzuki shoving up top lane, gonna get another turret and bring this gold even closer for Cloud9.
So as this turret goes down, taking a look back at the comment about the Athenes versus Corki in middle, seeing that, you know, knowing these guys' play style, how they play and what they're going up against, he's just decided to do that still and hit the early Zonias, or should he have done something different already?
The early Zonias on Orianna would have been a tricky choice for them.
Right.
Like, you really need the mana control. Whether you get that through a Rod of Ages, a Tear, or Nathine's Unholy Grail is kind of undecided. It's why the Corki matchup is so hard for him, because Orianna is one of the few casters who needs to itemize mana, and there's not
a lot of recipes that have armor in it for mana.
Not any of them, I don't think.
Proud.
Yeah, but that's not an Orianna item.
Right, exactly.
You know? So it's just, it makes her build completely counterintuitive to what she wants.
Yeah, great play right out of the game, playing those mind games with the champions, the picks and bans. See, good gathering here down towards the Dragon Den. No damage really being done as they dance it about. Back and forth, the wards being cleared. Nunu trying to get the most out of that Oracles and get his return. And actually give that to Lambo on the CS.
They still haven't been able to get this mid turret down, though, and they're putting so much attention to it. It's a 3v5 in the mid lane here, actually, with split pushing. They might want to make something happen, but Riven and Twitch are both split pushing. Either Azure has to go now, or they have to fall back.
They have to go hard, but Curse of the Sad Mummy is up. But seeing 5 in their face causes them to back. One turret goes down. Riven's got quite a while on that one, and Twitch is still waiting for a full minion wave to go down before he can even touch that. The teams are now dispersing back at their lanes. Let's see what Twitch can do. He should be able to get out easy, but it's all about that Riven run here.
And look at this. It's a 2,000 gold lead now. Wild Turtle still split pushing. I feel like he's going to have to pull some wizardry to get into this one.
And he pits his rose. Oh, the
no.
pink ward. He walks right into it. And Bloodwater just continues to keep them in his inventory.
Well,
Actually,
at least
wasn't even his.
Twitch wasn't worth much. In
Right.
all honesty, he's 0-3. He's the man to be having split pushing right now. You already have a farmed AD carry that is guaranteed. Niantanso's mid lane Corki provides that. Wild Turtle just trying to farm up so his spray and pray means something. And when you consider that this game is stretching later and later, the fact that they have 2 AD carries versus only the one from Azure does give them a bit of a late game edge if they can get it there. I thought they were going to lose control this early, much like our last game between Azure and Team Marn, but Azure Gaming showing that they can't group up and just finish.
Niantanso is super focused on this game right now. He understands that his team is riding on his back. 229 farm. He is in the jungle whenever he does not see a minion in the lane. He is over 40 CS higher than the opposing team altogether.
That is really quite remarkable. And when you consider the fact that High is not even behind DJ Lambo on top of that, it really just shows you how well Niantanso is farming.
He's keeping it in mind. You can see him staying. There's more waves coming in. And like you said, Twitch is doing what he needs to as they split push. He's causing trouble for the team. Bloodwater putting pressure on here. Ward's going down to the bush. And we'll see it over and over. A fight of wards during the fight of abilities. It's going to be on to High. He does have Curse of the Sad Mummy up. Will he decide to use it for the escape? They may save it for a regular fight, and they choose to walk out and fight another day.
And look at this, as long as they can stall while their team split pushes, Corki and Twitch are both pushing up, and AZG can't get fights. They might lose their bottom turret off of trying to make that initiation, and all it cost Cloud9 was a Lulu wall.
You know, I really like what Cloud9 is doing right now as well. They're not allowing AZG to back. They're making him take the long walk home here.
And now they're going to keep the pressure up because they put enough poke down that AZG could not collapse down onto Wild Turtle's Twitch. And for an 0-4 Twitch that got obliterated in the lane, he's creating a lot of tactical advantages for his team.
I'm very surprised with what he is doing, especially the ins and outs of his escape so far. He kind of lost out on the last one, but we've seen it happen before. We have the focus on to Dragon. It's 23 minutes in. There are some good damage items here, but I don't think it's the Baron Dance just yet. We're still going to see some fights, some more finished items from these teams, and then we'll get into that Baron section of the game.
Yep, this is another uncontested Dragon here for Azure. Cloud9 still not ready to fight. Twitch hasn't bought items in a really long time, and you can see him a little worried about Demon Wall. He's going to try to make his way out of here.
Yep, they both head their separate ways. He feels all right. He has the movement speed to get out of this one. You know what's really funny is I've actually been hearing a lot of the carries, and then their team say, no, don't do that, is, dude, if the game gets late enough, I'm selling my boots for Zephyr.
I can see it. And Wild Turtle's in a lot of trouble, having to flash away immediately.
Almost. That range quite long. The flash cleanse is off, so he's not going to have anything for the next fight. But then again, bullet time is down as well. Yuzuki cleaning out in the lanes. They're all even in the mids right now. It's really someone to be caught out. Dragon has been taken down. Who's going to make the next mistake?
So it's 9-2. The game has been without team fight action for quite a while. Ever since Cloud9 decided to institute split pushing, it just hasn't created action. They're just stalling it out. They're farming up. It's going to be really telling whether Shouster's Orianna ultimate can hit Niantanso and Wild Turtle together or not. If they space well as AD carries, they're going to be fairly effective, but if they dogpile in improperly around Hai's Mumu ultimate, that's when they're going to lose. They need to make sure to spread out because Orianna and MF are hitting huge, wide radiuses, and everyone is squishy aside from Mumu, so they have to make sure they just don't get bursted down. That's going to be what loses it for them, if anything.
Bloodthirster being picked up onto Riven, as well as her Brutalizer to keep that pen damage down. Olaf building a lot of armor, actually finishing that Randuin's Omen after just getting the Giant's Belt, so I guess he was just looking for a little HP in lane, and he got the money off that assist and the farm. The farm pretty even between the top lane, so that's not really where the factor of the game is coming from. That focus has been Beast Tanso. Right now, we do see that Azure Gaming is in the lead, but our focus for Cloud9 is on, right now, Beast Tanso is his name for the fight. We'll have to see what he can do. He could get caught out here. The Dustbringer goes down. He was hit, so he's forced out of this engagement, chat, and it looks like Azure has the upper hand here.
For the first time in quite a while, they do not have split pushes active. The pressure of the map has been retaken by Azure. Now they're trying to push up mid. Olaf is bottom, but he has his teleport available, so if they decide to do something sneaky on top of this middle turret, they're going to be able to teleport in. Let's see if Cloud9 can hold.
So it's a pretty good poke. They don't have a ton of it, but they can get those Dustbringers out. They got the Orianna Ball and the Undertow. They are just able to cut down these waves. Jat coming in very strong. Still trying to leave Twitch off to the side to farm up and get that farm in. He's actually only 30 down now. Actually 20 down. He's really closing that gap.
Yeah, I mean, Infinity Edge and Azeel is behind for 26 minutes, but it's still respectable damage in a team fight.
Especially when you don't have to get in the team fight. You just shoot it from however much range away.
A million.
Millions of
range. It's actually
range.
1,100.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds like a million. Beast Tanso still farming it up. 9 away from 300 at 26 minutes into the game. Usually you see that on a Karthus.
But today it's a Corki.
Today it's a
Because
Corki.
that is the Orianna counter they have picked. 100 more than Shousters, which is really impressive when you consider they've been losing the game.
Yeah, 100, actually over 100 CS, 107 CS over right now. That is quite a lead. Great bandage tossed by High. Very cute.
Yeah. Beast Tanso actually hit 300 at the 26-minute and 30-second mark. It's not the record. That is Froggen, which I believe was like 22:43, but that's still very respectable. That's a really quick 300 CS landmark.
And he's got the items. He is actually going for the static shiv as well. They are pushing in every lane possible, and once they get that, and once they get control, once they get some wards, possibly in the jungle at least, they can start to do that a little bit more.
And the split push just continues, man. Like, they've had the oracles. Bloodwater's on his second oracles at this point, but they haven't really forced anything out of it aside from a couple dragons. And again, Wild Turtle is just bottom lane, farming up a storm.
Closing in on that. Still that 20 CS away, 0-4 and 0. If he comes in to be a huge factor in these fights, I'm going to be blown away. They are just allowing him to stay down there, and no real ground, you just said it, has been gained by Azure yet. They've found a few turrets, but the Baron here, they've finally starting to use that Oracle.
They were a little tired of the poke and the split push and all of that harassment and annoyance and inability to start fights. They're trying to clear inside of Baron. They're trying to wait for Cloud9 to come in, but Cloud9 is just showing how patient they really are. I mean, the fact that they've had multiple instances where just 3 of them were there, and they could not be engaged on despite having Nocturne and Orianna ults and the speed of Nunu really just tells me they're waiting for Cloud9 to engage, and Cloud9 doesn't want to, which is why we're not seeing much action.
I'm quite surprised, but then again not. 2 Infinity Edges are probably what changed the mind of AZG, but they just saw High L9 use his smite on a siege minion in middle. So they have Nunu, and they also have Smite from Nocturne. They can easily take this down from over regular Smite health. Here comes the teleport in. They're going to slowly back away from this one. Great damage coming from Beast Tanso, though. One more shot on the Bloodwater, and he gets the perfect bait in. There's the command shockwave. They start to turn this fight around, chat. Yuzuki is on the outside taking a lot of damage. The finalizing paranoia, and Lambo goes down as a hero in that fight for his team. But do they have the damage from the outside? Demon Lol has not been able to shoot for the past 3 or 4 seconds. He was out of range, and the damage is kind of being traded the other way now. Nothing here, very hurt. We do see Lula going down as well. Twitch falls. It's all up to High L9 to stay alive, and there it is. They clean it up from Baron to mid.
They finally get the ace, and that was all because Nian Tanso got caught in the Orianna ult with the MF bullet time coming in through that. Now it's on them. They're going to try to 3-man this Baron. Will they finally get over the hump? They've been so close to beating Team Marn in the last game. Azure Gaming finally stopping the split push momentarily. The reason that fight works so well is because Wild Turtle had to come all the way from bot lane, whereas Olaf teleported up, and they should be able to 3-man this Baron and get a bit of a stranglehold on this match.
You know, Jat, it's like the entire team had a gigantic U power curve. They came out very strong. We just had a mid-game where it seems like everybody set up a cot and grabbed a pillow, and then we're going right back up again.
Ready for action.
Ready for action.
Took a little break.
Yeah.
Nap time. Now they're back.
Here we are, 30 minutes in, 14-4, right on the dot. At that 30 minutes, guys, our final elimination match of the day, ladies and gentlemen. If you're just joining us here, I don't know what you were doing all day because you've been here for plus 12 hours, and I know a lot of you have too. Thanks for joining in for the entire stream. Hundreds of thousands of you enjoying. A fist bump to you. Fist bump your monitor. The first of 2013. Just do it.
Not too hard.
Not too hard. No, that's bad.
Monitors are a little fragile.
So here we go, a dragon being taken up. No real objectives to worry over right now, and a definitive lead and dictation of the game. Where are they going to go next?
I believe that's the 4th dragon they've gotten in a row. Now that they've taken both the objectives, it's on them to siege again. They're going to poke down. They're going to hope Shousters gets a good Orianna ball placement. They're going to hope DJ Lambo can dive in. But even after all that, they have the Baron buff. They only got a 6,000 gold lead. They're still having to deal with 280 carries that have Last Whispers, and that was brilliant purchases, by the way, by Cloud9. The armor from Olaf and the tank Nocturne really stopped the double 80 carries from kicking in. If they can ever drop that tank line while they still have a sliver of health left, that is Cloud9, they're going to mop the floor with Azure.
Very, very scary. Said that before. If it comes to fruition, I fear it happening as well. It just seems like it would fall over like dominoes. Score still holding true at 14-4. Everybody's clearing up. We see Azure now pushing in with that Baron once again. We'll have to see if they can utilize this. They're now split pushing against that Twitch. They can't do much with the regeneration, even on the poke, waiting for this minion wave to come in. Looks like that turret is going to be taking a good amount of damage here from Demon Lol. No, quickly backing off high. Wow, just that ball dissonance did a good 1/7 of his health.
You could really see in the bottom lane, when nothing here was getting shot by Wild Turtle, how puny and tiny Wild Turtle felt shooting Olaf, because he did about 3 damage is what it looked like.
And you can see Olaf standing there, taking the turret for his team.
He is really strong right now. The Orianna shield on top of that is making this push much more manageable than I thought it would be.
You know, that was so dominating. He didn't even run in and activate W, get more damage, and help take down the turret. He said, we're going to do this right in front of you with no minion wave.
And until High goes all in and initiates, which they don't really want to do on a full Baroned up team, they're going to have to sit there and take it, but they don't want to give up their inhibitor either. So we're going to see some very interesting action if Nothing here decides to do the same thing to this turret that he did to the last one.
1, 2, 3, they take that ward out. The Oracles won't help. You see this big push coming down in that bottom lane. Where will they go from here? Chat, you said they're going to push onto this turret. It's going to have to be interesting to see how they stop it. Will they even try? The ball is put out for a little bit of positioning. They do lose a turret on this one, but that's not really something that should make them go back. The wave they have there could slow it down, and they need to use this Baron. They only have a minute left, so it's going to spawn in 4 at 37 minutes.
It's going to be decision time here because they have 2 outer turrets in the top and bottom lane that they'd be able to take cleanly if they don't think they're going to be able to take in this mid one. They've now sat 2 waves here and not gotten a single point of damage. The fact that they haven't decided to do anything makes me think they might fight on this wave.
And it looks like it. That Paranoia goes straight in. Wild Growth goes up. Curse of the Sad Mummy, but he doesn't even stay in to do despair damage. He knows he has to get out. A beautiful double kill Shockwave. The triple kill, no, the kill coming in from Nunu, rather. You kind of look like Orianna in the shots. Riven taking one down. MF coming up with a double kill as well. And it looks like they get the full house onto Cloud9. This could be a big push for them.
They stuck around and decided to just go all in. That's an ace, 30-second death timers. Everyone got clumped in the Orianna ult, and you can't have that happen when you're a team of people who can't take damage. This looks like the end for Cloud9's journey at the regionals. Azure will be moving on, Riv.
Azure Gaming playing a very strong one. The U power curve, that middle game looked very scary, but they were able to come back. That was a beautiful Baron, and you can see them very happy with themselves. Really a huge hand to Demon Lord.